Anita Eskin, I mean, Giovanni, like a lot of people that I love won. So I'm very excited about that. And kudos to everyone.
Oh, yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so let's move on to the next story.
Yes.
So the Ghana Tourism Authority, in collaboration with the National Security and the Ghana Police Service, arrested a group of people who were organizing a sex party in Accra last week. The authority also closed down a hotel in Bawe, where the sex party had been arranged and advertised. The authority revealed this in a statement and cautioned that it will continue to work with the police and other security agencies to close down and prosecute tourism enterprises and event organizers involved, and I quote, in these acts that cast a slur on the image of Ghana, according to them. The authority will stop at nothing to sanitize the industry towards promotion and marketing Ghana as a safe and sustainable tourism destination, the statement added. The authority further condemned the increasing spate of advertising of sex parties and other related sex activities in hotels, nightclubs, movie houses, pubs, and other tourism establishments in the country. There has been an increase in advertisements of sex parties on social media platforms, inviting patrons to orgies at a fee. Charlie, first thing I'm going to say is we're such a hypocritical society. Like, we are so hypocritical, it gets disgusting.
Really?
We're sitting here saying we're going to stop at nothing to sanitize the industry towards promoting marketing of Ghana, cast a slur on the image of Ghana, blah, blah, blah. If you want to do that, sanitize the industry, make it a safe and whatever, safe place, then start with the fact that we're still in a country where I can go to court and a lawyer who is fighting a rape case would use a valid, would say something as what she was wearing probably caused her rape, and that is a valid thing that a lawyer can use in court. The fact that someone can't easily report a rape in this country because of the general perceptions. The fact that, I mean, all the things that make up a rape culture, we do rape jokes, even in our music, it's all of that. You want to make it a safe place? Well, start there where it actually really matters. And this is a sex party in this sense, this is something that's happening between, or we're assuming it's happening between consensual adults. I really don't understand government involvement in people's bedrooms, unless that includes, we're talking about rape and abuse and those kind of things. When, you know, there was a time when marital rape was not criminalized. You know the excuses that people in government made? They were like, the government should not involve themselves in people's bedrooms. Oh, then it was very convenient to use that argument. But something that's between consensual adults, why is that an issue? Why can't we always like pick the red herrings, safe, and why aren't we dealing with the actual issues of there being a serious rape culture and there being abuse and all of those things if you want to make it safe? You know, why have to go into someone's bedroom because they decided to have an orgy? Since when should government be involved in guarding people's and when does the state guard people's honor?
When I saw the story, I was wondering, what is a sex party? Like, I want them to be clear. Is it like they're having a normal party, gets to midnight, everybody wants to get freaky? Like, what is? Or it's just everybody's just doing
what really got out or stood out to maybe the authorities was the fact that people were charging for different types. So with a particular sex style or whatever it is, there's a monetary value attached to it. So then I think it goes into the prostitution not being legalized.
Of the streets,
so it's almost like, okay, it's not legal to charge for sex, so then this is an affront to the Constitution, whatever it is. So let's not make it
then again
happen.
The hypocrisy, where policemen do still use the services of prostitutes. They abuse prostitutes, you know, and we all know places where prostitutes actually do work. You know, prostitution is different from a sex party.
The fact that they just don't want prostitutes to walk around.
Oh, we have this really...
Look, if you were staying in that hotel
properness,
and you could hear
hypocritical.
Sex party next door, how would you feel as a paying guest?
Between consensual adults? Wait, I'm going to the party.
It's a hotel.
So
it's a hotel, that's where it is. I'm next door and there's about 8 people doing whatever.
Yeah, whatever. What is my business?
You're paying person who is being disturbed by...
Being disturbed?
Yes.
It's a party they are doing in the hotel. I'm in my house.
If it's in your home...
It's not happening in my house.
A hotel is a public place. That's the problem here.
And what the hotel has done has agreed that this kind of party is what they want to do here. So you just don't go to the hotel.
That's why they're being shut down. Because if it's in your own home, you are right. If I said to you,
but the hotel has agreed.
Bring your guy, AJ, bring your guy, everybody...
But the hotel has agreed.
I don't know if it was necessarily amongst consenting adults, because, you know, funny enough, I don't know if it's funny, but I got this on WhatsApp.
Yeah.
Like,
Are you
it
serious?
was a blast message, and I was like, is this a joke? And so then if I'm getting, and I don't even know who sent it to me, if it's on Facebook, if it's on all these social media channels, are people under the age of 18 getting it? You know, so is this why the Ghana Tourism Board stepped in?
So I wish that would have been the reason. Let's check whether anyone who is being admitted to the party, whether they're doing an age check or something.
Okay.
Then that's what we
that
talk about.
didn't even come up.
So quoting Section 274 of the Criminal Act, person trading in prostitution. So any person who knowingly lives wholly or in part on earnings of prostitution or is proven to have, for the purposes of gain, exercise, control, direction, or influence over the movements of a prostitute in such a manner is to have aided and abetted and compelled the prostitute with any personal shall be guilty of a misdemeanor. So basically the laws stay here. Even if you aid and abet, even if it's your establishment, that's they're having a sex party that they're promoting. That's they're in there. The law is, according to the Criminal Offences Act, you are not allowed.
Two things. Prostitution is very different from a sex party. They're two different things to me.
No, but
they're
why.
Because it's a party. I'm going to Twist clubbing. I have to pay a fee to enter.
No, because they were advertising the services.
They're advertising 69.
It's a party, but this happens to be a sex party. And secondly, there's such a thing as unjust laws. In our laws, we criminalize people who are LGBT. So just because maybe the law says this, that's not the end all be all for me at all. You know, let's actually, if we want to make Ghana a safe place, let's really deal with the real issues. You know, like, let's check whether the people who are being admitted to this party are underage or not. Because, like you said, it's dangerous that it went everywhere. So if someone just shows up and is underage, it's like, what's going to be happening? There's definitely going to be abuse. There's definitely going to be...
So when you get there and they're underage, it should be closed down.
Whatever punishment is deemed necessary, yes.
So
most definitely. So there should be those checks. But we didn't have that. This is just the closed down.
This is because it's a public.
I mean, because Ghana is just
like I said, if it's in my own private house,
conservative.
Because we hear rumors of the fact that there may be so and so happening in various people's private spaces. That the police doesn't swoop there because it's your private space and because you haven't put it out there that you're having this. But if you actually promote it and put it out like Jasmine got on her WhatsApp, you're putting prices to each act that is there, then you are going against the Criminal Offences Act of 1960, and you cannot and must not have that happen.
I've been to I was invited to a lingerie party. Do you understand? And yes, lingerie was there, but it was the very
there was a lot of
nice lingerie. You understand what I'm saying? But it was in the private of her home. So if the police you come knocking on the door, you have no right to question any of us. Do you understand? But my point I keep making to you is that once it's in the public,
with these things, the law, even if it's in the privacy of your home,
they'll
say that it's against the law. So
it's actually in here that
you know that. So let's deal with not even the privacy of your home or
in
hotel.
My home, I wouldn't even. I would tell you not.
And especially with this hotel, it says a premises or part thereof is used for the purposes of prostitution, and that person residing in or frequenting the premises, that's anyone who enters it, and living wholly or part in the earnings, may have an issue. A warrant issued on his head and authorizing a police officer to enter and search the premises and arrest that person.
Even private
anyone
public,
who entered,
which is
anyone who owned the premises, anyone at all involved in that is subject to be arrested.
It's an abuse of my human rights right now.
You entered it knowing that there's
the police can enter my bedroom and tell me how I should be having my sex.
If you're violating the law, yes, they can.
And the law tells me how I'm having my sex is wrong. If you're consenting adult,
you're collecting
with all those things,
if you're collecting money, revenue, and someone is living on their revenue, and you are living on the revenue of sexual acts or prostitution, whatever it is, you are liable.
This is a sex party. It's a party. People are paying a fee to enter.
It's not all of them that you have to pay to enter. I know
so are you saying if they didn't charge, then it's cool?
And if they didn't charge, and if they didn't advertise,
if they didn't charge,
and they didn't advertise,
for me,
it's a party.
For me, if you didn't charge. Then I don't feel that they've done anything.
If they didn't charge, if they didn't advertise, then they would technically you can find a way of working out that kink, but because they advertised, because it was a public establishment, that was a hotel, the Ghana Tourism Authority have every right to go in and soup on them.
And the law is problematic.
On the street.
I'm sure it's wasn't the first.
In the house.
Apparently it's rampant, it's starting, it's really out there. So it's interesting to see.
No, I honestly feel like Ghanaians are becoming a lot of young Ghanaians are becoming less repressive, right? And these things are just, they've always been there, but just now people are more open about expressing those things. Yeah. So they'll tell you, oh, it's coming everywhere, it's rampant, but it's actually not. And and when they say state in this case, the state is not a person. The state is this entity made up of several people. Meaning, whoever is making those rules is a group of powerful people with their own values from somewhere who are imposing that on people. So when it comes to this, that's what's problematic. It's like, so what if we have this state and the powerful people behind it are people who believe that women who have hair like you should be arrested and killed, but it's the law, then that's what makes it problematic. So I want us to properly think about, if we want to make it a safe space, I deal with rape victims every day. Ghana is not a safe place for them. No. Even to go to a police hospital to buy a form, you have to buy the form to report your rape. Let's start there. Let's start solving those problems instead of, anyways. AJ, talking about sex, I can go on forever. Let's go on.
Okay, so moving on to the next story. And this one, it's about something that was very, highly trending a lot, basically. So even after rendering an unqualified apology for his outburst, largely considering partisans, discriminatory and divisive, the minority in parliament is maintaining its stance that Ghana's High Commissioner to South Africa, George Ayesi Boateng, should resign for pledging to prioritize New Patriotic Party MPP members in the execution of his mandate. Mr. Ayesi Boateng's apology comes almost 3 days after his initial comments incurred the wrath of Ghanaians. He also defended his comments, saying there was nothing wrong in putting his party and its members first. He gave the analogy of how a husband cannot overlook his wife and children's welfare to cater for outsiders, insisting they must be the first priority. He thus insisted that he finds nothing wrong with his open declaration to prioritize MPP members because he believes they are more Ghanaian than others. So basically, the story revolves around Ghana's High Commissioner to South Africa, Honorable His Excellency, Mr. George Ayesi Boateng, who on Saturday, last week Saturday, apparently in a closed-door meeting or in a meeting with the TESCON members, I think on Tech Campus, went on to say that his priority is the TESCON members and all other MPP members, and he will place them above all others when it comes to jobs and other infrastructure that he can put in place. This went really viral because something that was apparently supposed to be confidential amongst the meeting was actually made public knowledge. And I actually went ahead to interview one of the TESCON members who went on to say that he said nothing wrong. I mean, what did he really say wrong? I mean, yes, we fought and put him on the MPP into power. So why is everyone going on about it? Obviously, and he literally also, the TESCON member also used this example that everyone has a priority. I mean, your nuclear family is your priority, then your extended family becomes the priority after. So he said nothing wrong. And 3 days later, the man did not apologize. He did not apologize at any point in time. So finally, I think when people were calling for him to be removed, he finally decided that, okay, let me just hush this quickly. So I'm sorry for all of those that I offended. And I think primarily my problem with this is that this is how Ghana, to my honest opinion, is where we are right now. Because everyone or every government comes in, they place the people first. People assume who can do the work that, why bother? I mean, I don't know anyone in government. People in that diaspora will be like, even though they can come with their resources and their knowledge to come and help, they don't know anyone to ensure that things get done. So, Chale, if we don't check these kind of comments and it's not even about the comments, because he went on to say that a lot of other MPs and people in power think the same way, but they don't say it. But he will publicly say it on record. So it's not about his thinking or his utterances, but about the mindset of a lot of people in power.
It's very true.
Yeah, I mean that's the problem with the party system. Honestly, the fact that what we call this is supposed to be a democratic system, so we have this party.
Yeah.
But I feel like this is what actually shows the flaw in what we think democracy really is.
Yeah. And it's the same with the voting pattern.
The same with the voting.
That if you come from the Ashanti region, then you're voting for NPP.
For NPP.
You're voting for Volta, you're doing NDC.
Exactly. So you see what happens is if NPP comes into power,
Yeah.
they set up projects, and then that project ends when NDC comes into power next,
Yeah.
because it's about showing what you did during your time.
Yeah.
And that's what messes up with our economy, because it's
So
like
wrong.
it's not long-lasting development that happens. It's about what party comes when. There's a good friend that actually suggested a really good idea. Why is that we don't have all of them? Like we have Indum, we have Mahama, we have our president, Akufo-Addo, and put them where their strengths fits best. So it's not this party. It's actually an all-party, a union party kind of, not party, but then everyone ruling, government kind of thing. So everyone is actually focusing on what they're best at, you know, and you wouldn't have things like this.
That's
because
never going to
just
work,
put voice
because
to-
everybody wants power and individual power.
I just said this week on CBS that I don't understand the concept of creating unemployment to create employment. Every government comes in.
Yeah.
Okay, you didn't do it. You are not
You're
my party
from
member.
it.
You're
This
not my
one,
party
you're
member.
fired.
You go home.
Yeah.
Let my people come in. But
Yeah.
you don't audit the jobs to see if the people are actually doing the job well. So me, AJ, I'm a civil servant in maybe the office of the minister or whatever it is, and you come in, and because maybe I'm affiliated to the NDC, or maybe the NDC put me in power, you or in the position, you would tell me to go home, not realizing the dependence I have on me and my salary, not to mention the fact that maybe I am doing the work, maybe I am good at what I do, I have the qualifications and everything else to get the job done. But you bring someone because you know them, put them in power, and well, the person may not have the qualification, the person may not be doing the job right, but then you'd have left manpower go home that you couldn't use.
There was rumors like that about the Cocoa Board, that most of the people employed there were all NDC, and now NPP have come into power. Anyone that was employed by the former president's wife has all been out the door. And what you said about a new government coming and not finishing what the old government done because they want to show that, I did this.
What we did during that time.
Last weekend, I drove to Kumasi, and I was really impressed. When you get to Nkoko, they've done the road, so it's like it shaved about over an hour off the journey. So you don't pass the main road; it's like a back road, and it was so smooth. But it got to a part they hadn't finished. They could have continued.
Yeah.
I think the NPP have been in power for nearly a year. Well, how long is it now? Like 11 months,
almost a year,
10 months, nearly a year. And I'm thinking, so why hasn't anyone said, okay, let me just finish this job off? No, because that was them. Us. We are somewhere else, which is so wrong.
Yeah, and I have to agree with you because I'm fairly new to this. I've been in Ghana now for almost 2 years, and when I first moved here, there's a stretch of road, Manette. It's very, very rough. And I remember the taxi driver saying, "Oh, don't worry, in a couple of months, we're going to have an election. And you don't worry, when the new one comes in, they'll do the road. You watch, you'll see. And true enough, there was work happening, and then it just stopped. And now every time I drive, I'm like, is this really how it works? So every time another party comes in, they credit the work to this party. And then it'll just, I'm thinking, this is a new concept for me, because I've never even heard of this. Right? So why don't they all join for the benefit of all the people? To me, that's just common sense. Yeah. Why wouldn't that happen?
Because of what she said, power and the fact that people see being in government as a big payout.
Yeah.
And the people who get the short end of the stick are the citizens who will have to drive our cars on roads, and so you're dealing with your things in your car already because of bad roads, bad services, the fact that if you don't know anyone, you're just totally messed up in this country, So honestly, I honestly feel we should really start to think of, if we want to change this country, let's start to think of the party system. If we really want to change it.
Because my dad, he's from America, so he was driving, because I can't drive long distance, and he was just like, this is very, very strange to him. It's just stopped, and there's a pile of sand and grit, ready.
You
can literally see
somebody can actually do this job, but it's just there. And he was like, so the people that are in the road and land, or I don't know, road and whatever department, why don't they project that, in 10 years' time, each household will have averagely four cars, and we need to construct roads, this and this and this. And I said to him, for all you know, Joe Bloggs probably went to the government and said, look, I have this idea, I can see in 15 years cars are going to be flying or whatever it is. And the government may give him money, if he's an honest man, he would do the job properly. Or if he's dishonest, what would he do? He'd do half the job, pocket the rest of the money.
And what you said about who gets the job, contracts, and it's such a big thing. The government decides they want to do this, they want to develop whatever. Now it becomes on a contract basis.
Yeah.
And when it gets on a contract basis, is who you know, who you've
That's
been
why
paying money to the elections.
The comments that
you know, it's like,
he said.
yeah.
Because he literally, in his humble view,
because these people,
if he's tasked with
funded,
finding a contract, he will prioritize an NPP member first. And that's the reason why some of our contracts get overbloated and everything, because competitive bidding drives down the price. So Chantel can do a job or build a road for 1 million Ghana cedis. Jasmine can build it for 500,000 Ghana cedis. I can build it for 800,000 cedis. And Akosha can build it for maybe 200,000 cedis. Competitive bidding, coming together, bidding, will allow the government to pick Akosha's 200,000 and say, okay, if you can do it with the same amount of resources for 200, let's pick that. And then we would have saved a lot of money to invest into other infrastructure. But because Chantel knows the one in charge and giving out the contract,
give money for their running,
and her 1 million, you know what, Chantel, let's do a 1.2 or let's do a 1.5.
I have no clue about the job.
Literally. And because she is the one he knows or she knows, then they'll give the contract to the person they know and end up costing the country millions of cedis. And then
that's what it is.
Fast forward it, the journalists will find out that this thing was overbloated and it becomes a whole scandal.
Talk about
and
it,
we'll talk
it
about
dies.
it. And again, it dies. How many people are actually put in prison for causing financial losses to the state?
You know,
it boils down to who you know, Charlie.
I had a case, and I can't say the company anyway or the government faction, but where someone actually came, had the skill and power to revolutionize the system and had so wanted to apply for a contract for this, and the person was told by a top person there that you have to bring this amount of money to me personally, otherwise before we even.
So I'm already minus something in deficit before I start the job.
I need money to even consider you.
Why won't I cut some of the top? If I'm giving you
100,000, the person just went. This is where he had the skills to do the work and came, and then this is the reaction. It's like, do you really care about development?
There's some roads in Accra that are done almost every 2 years. And it breaks down and you do it again. And it breaks down and you do it again. And that is just literally taxpayers' money going to the development when one thing can be done well.
So why very well. That one particular area?
And it will not be touched again.
My auntie has lived in Kwashimon since 1994. The road is a horror road. Sometimes taxis are like, I'm not going, you have to get off. It's so bad. And I was like, so I think 2 years ago I was like, Auntie, this is pathetic. I mean, since 1994. Oh, it's because it's NDC government.
That's
when NPP come, they'll fix it. And I said, but Kufuor was in power like in back then, so how come it wasn't fixed? And she was like, so she couldn't comment. It's pathetic.
Development should be for development's sake.
At Odoko, do you know what people had to do? Apparently, some women took off their bras and went crazy before they Odoko from official town to Kwashima before they did the road.
Why did they have to do that?
It took them like 3 weeks, and I don't get it. And they closed off half the road. Why did they do that? If you're going to
these women had to do this.
The women had to do that. Number one, when you're ready to fix the road, it's like they pile the tarmac and whatnot. Then they'll come back the next week to do like a quarter. Then I'll come back to like, why don't you just finish it all in one day? Did you see the post? There was an earthquake in Japan, and did you see that?
A few days.
There was a massive earthquake. The way the land had destructed, caved in so deep. They finished it in 2 days.
Look at that.
In 2 days. But here, let me drag it and keep collecting more money.
And it's all causing financial loss to us.
It is. My shocks.
All of these things, you know.
Okay, we've got to go for our first break. It's getting quite heated here.